I never thought I would be telling this story, but sometimes life throws you curveballs that change everything. 6 years ago, I became a single father overnight when my wife walked out on me and our 3-year-old twins. I thought we had built something unbreakable, a family founded on love and commitment. I was wrong. The path from that moment of betrayal to where I am today has been filled with tears, struggle, and eventually healing. When she showed up on my doorstep years later with another child in tow, I had to make the hardest decision of my life. Before I dive into what happened that day, let me know where you're watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life stories about overcoming life's greatest challenges. My story begins like many others. I grew up in a middle-class family in suburban Chicago. Nothing extraordinary, just loving parents who taught me the value of hard work and commitment. After college, I landed a decent job at an accounting firm and was focused on building my career. That's when Amanda walked into my life during a friend's birthday party. She had this infectious laugh that could light up a room, auburn hair that seemed to catch fire in the sunlight, and a quick wit that kept me on my toes. We connected instantly over our shared love of old movies and dreams of traveling the world. Within 6 months, I knew she was the one. I proposed on a snowy evening at the spot where we had our first date. Her eyes filled with tears as she said yes, and I thought I had found my forever person. We married in a small ceremony surrounded by friends and family, everyone toasting to our bright future together. The early years of our marriage were everything I had hoped for. We bought a modest house with a backyard large enough for the family we planned to have. Weekends were spent painting walls and assembling furniture, building our little nest together. Amanda worked as a marketing executive while I continued climbing the ladder at my firm. We talked about our days over dinner, planned vacations, and dreamed about the family we would create. When Amanda told me she was pregnant, I was overjoyed. Finding out we were having twins doubled that happiness. We transformed the spare bedroom into a nursery, painting clouds on the ceiling and filling bookshelves with children's stories. The day Jackson and Emma were born was the happiest of my life. Holding those 2 tiny humans, my son and daughter, filled me with a sense of purpose I had never known before. The first year with the twins was exhausting but wonderful. Amanda took 6 months of maternity leave, and we tackled parenthood as a team. Midnight feedings, diaper changes, first smiles. We shared it all. I thought our bond had grown even stronger through the challenges of raising 2 babies simultaneously. Around the time the twins turned 2, I began noticing subtle changes in Amanda. She seemed increasingly restless at home, scrolling through social media with a distant look in her eyes. When I would ask about her day, her answers became shorter, less engaged. She began mentioning feeling trapped and missing her old self. Her company hired a new marketing director named Tyler, and suddenly Amanda was working late more often. Big campaign, she would say. Important client became her standard explanation. At first, I never questioned it. I trusted her completely and was proud of her professional success. I took on more childcare responsibilities so she could focus on her career, wanting to be a supportive husband. The first real sign came when I noticed how quickly she would put her phone away whenever I entered the room. Once, I caught a glimpse of a text message with a heart emoji from someone saved as T. When I casually asked about it, she became defensive, accusing me of spying on her. I apologized, convinced I was overreacting. Determined to improve our relationship, I planned date nights, arranged for my parents to watch the twins, and tried to rekindle our connection. Amanda would go through the motions, but her mind always seemed elsewhere. During these evenings out, her phone would buzz constantly, and she would excuse herself to answer work emails. The twins' 3rd birthday party was when I could no longer deny something was seriously wrong. Amanda spent most of the celebration texting on her phone, barely engaging with our children or guests. She left early, claiming a work emergency. When our daughter Emma asked, "Why did Mommy go away?" I had no good answer. Later that night, while cleaning up, I found a receipt that had fallen from Amanda's purse. It was from a hotel downtown, dated on an afternoon she had claimed to be at a marketing conference. My stomach knotted as I finally faced the truth I had been avoiding. When Amanda returned home late that evening, I confronted her with the receipt. She stared at me coldly before admitting she had been seeing Tyler for the past 6 months. No tears, no remorse, just irritation at being caught. I remember her exact words: "I did not sign up to be tied down to twins and a boring suburban life. Tyler makes me feel alive again." My world crumbled that night as I begged her to consider couples therapy to think about our children. She just shook her head, saying she had outgrown our life together. All the while, Jackson and Emma slept peacefully upstairs, unaware that their family was falling apart. The night Amanda left remains seared in my memory. It was a Tuesday evening, unseasonably cold for April. I had just put the twins to bed after reading their favorite story about a family of bears. Amanda was waiting downstairs, suitcases already packed. She did not waste time with pleasantries. "I cannot do this anymore, Sean," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "I need to live my life. Tyler got a promotion in his firm, and I am going with him." I could not believe what I was hearing. "What about Jackson and Emma? They are just 3 years old. They need their mother." She glanced toward the stairs briefly, then looked away. "They will adjust. Kids are resilient. You are good with them anyway." I begged her to reconsider, to think about the devastation this would cause. "We can work through this. People make mistakes. We have built a family together." "That is your problem, Sean," she replied coldly. "You think a family is some sacred thing that trumps personal happiness. I never wanted to be defined by being a mother. This life is suffocating me." As she continued packing her things, I heard small footsteps on the stairs. Emma stood there in her pink pajamas, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Mommy, where are you going?" she asked, her voice small and confused. Amanda froze momentarily, then continued placing clothes in her suitcase. "Mommy has to go away for a while, sweetie. Go back to bed." Emma began to cry, which woke Jackson. Soon I had 2 sobbing children clinging to my legs while Amanda called a taxi. The look of annoyance on her face as our children cried is something I will never forget. There was no tender goodbye, no promises to call or visit soon. She simply walked out the door with barely a backward glance. The morning after was even harder. How do you explain to toddlers that their mother has abandoned them? I fumbled through a explanation about Mommy needing to go away for work, promising that I would always be there for them. Their little faces, confused and sad, broke my heart in ways I had never experienced before. 2 weeks later, divorce papers arrived. Amanda cited irreconcilable differences and requested minimal visitation rights with the twins. She agreed to standard child support, but made it clear she had no interest in shared custody. During our single meeting with lawyers present, she seemed like a stranger. Cold, detached, focused only on finalizing things quickly so she could start her new life with Tyler. The months that followed were the darkest of my life. I fell into depression while trying to maintain a brave face for Jackson and Emma. They would ask for their mother constantly, not understanding why she never called or visited. Each question felt like a knife to my heart. I would catch them looking at her photos, touching her image with their tiny fingers. Financially, we struggled immediately. Our household went from 2 incomes to 1, while expenses remained the same. Childcare costs skyrocketed, as I could no longer rely on Amanda to share pickup and drop-off duties. The mortgage payment that had once been comfortable became a monthly source of anxiety. My parents temporarily moved in to help, a blessing that kept us afloat during those first few months. My mother would take the twins to preschool while I worked, and my father helped with household repairs I had no time or energy to address. Without them, I honestly do not know how we would have survived. Amanda's promised child support payments came irregularly at first, then stopped altogether. Her occasional video calls with the twins dwindled until they happened only on birthdays, then ceased entirely. Each broken promise to visit left the children confused and hurt. I would find Jackson sitting by the window on days Amanda had said she might come, waiting for hours for a mother who never arrived. We started family therapy when I noticed Emma becoming withdrawn and Jackson developing aggressive behaviors at preschool. The therapist explained they were exhibiting classic signs of abandonment trauma. We learned coping techniques together, ways to process big emotions in little bodies. I attended a support group for single parents, finding solidarity among others navigating similar struggles. Juggling work and parenting became my new normal. I would wake at 5 in the morning to prepare for the day work until the last possible minute before rushing to pick up the twins, then spend evenings cooking, cleaning, bathing, and trying to create a sense of normalcy. After the children were asleep, I would catch up on work emails, often collapsing into bed well past midnight, only to start again a few hours later. The final blow came about a year after Amanda left. Through a mutual friend, I learned she was pregnant with Tyler's baby, and they had relocated to California. She had not even bothered to tell the twins she was moving across the country, or that they would soon have a half-sibling. That was the last I heard from or about Amanda for over 5 years. No birthday cards, no. Holiday calls, no. Child support checks. She had completely disappeared from our lives, leaving 3-year-old twins to somehow understand why their mother did not love them enough to stay. The years following Amanda's departure forced me to reinvent myself. I was no longer just Sean the accountant, but Sean the father, the provider, the emotional support system, the homework helper, the boo-boo kisser, everything my children needed. Through weekly therapy sessions, I slowly worked through my own feelings of failure and abandonment, realizing that Amanda's choices reflected her character, not my worth. My firm was understanding about my situation, allowing me flexible hours so I could be there for school pickups and sick days. I poured myself into proving my value professionally, eventually earning a promotion to senior manager. The salary increase eased our financial strain considerably, allowing us to move from the house filled with painful memories to a smaller but newer home in a neighborhood with excellent schools. We developed new family traditions: Sunday morning pancakes shaped like animals, summer camping trips in Wisconsin, and movie nights where the twins took turns choosing the film. These simple routines provided the stability Jackson and Emma desperately needed. As they grew, their questions about their mother became more complex and direct. I committed to age-appropriate honesty, never villainizing Amanda, but not sugarcoating the reality that she had chosen to leave. By the time the twins turned 7, we had found our rhythm. Jackson developed a passion for soccer and science experiments that frequently left the kitchen looking like a disaster zone. Emma discovered ballet and could often be found practicing pirouettes in the living room, narrowly avoiding furniture. They were thriving despite the absence of their mother, a testament to children's remarkable resilience when given love and stability. Dating as a single father proved challenging. Several promising relationships ended when women realized the twins would always be my priority. I was fine with that. Jackson and Emma had already experienced one parental abandonment. I would never risk subjecting them to emotional whiplash from rotating romantic partners. Then Natalie entered our lives unexpectedly. She was Emma's kindergarten teacher, and we first connected during a parent-teacher conference. Natalie noticed things about my daughter that even I had missed: how Emma used drawing to process emotions, her natural leadership abilities with younger children, her tendency to take care of others before herself. Our conversations about Emma evolved into coffee meetings that had nothing to do with school. Natalie had a warmth that drew people to her naturally. The twins adored her from the start, especially when she began joining us for occasional outings to museums or parks. Unlike others I had dated, she never tried to rush our relationship or force connections with Jackson and Emma. She understood they came first and respected the careful balance we had established. After a year of dating, Natalie and I decided she would move in with us. We prepared the twins, carefully addressing their concerns and emphasizing that this change represented growth, not replacement. The transition went smoother than I could have hoped. Natalie's presence completed our household in ways I had not realized were missing. She brought laughter, creativity, and a nurturing energy that complemented my more structured approach to parenting. Life settled into a new normal. The twins, now 9, were flourishing academically and socially. With Natalie's help, I had finally mastered the art of French braiding Emma's hair and could navigate the complex social politics of 3rd-grade birthday parties. We were happy, truly happy, for the first time in years. Then came that Sunday morning in October. We were enjoying our traditional pancake breakfast when the doorbell rang unexpectedly. Thinking it might be a neighbor, I opened the door without hesitation. The woman standing on my porch was almost unrecognizable at first. Her hair was different, her face thinner, but those eyes, I would know them anywhere. Amanda. She was not alone. Clutching her hand was a young boy, perhaps 5 years old, with her auburn hair and Tyler's chin. The child looked tired and nervous, shifting from foot to foot as he half hid behind his mother's legs. Amanda herself appeared disheveled, wearing clothes that had seen better days. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, and her once confident posture was now hunched and uncertain. "Sean," she said, her voice breaking, "I know this is unexpected. I need to talk to you." The shock momentarily paralyzed me. 6 years of silence, and now here she was standing on my doorstep, as though she had every right to be there. Behind me, I heard Natalie gathering the twins in the kitchen, intuitively sensing they should be shielded from whatever was unfolding. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Tyler left us for his 22-year-old assistant. He cut us off completely. "We lost the house last month. I have nowhere else to go." She gestured to the boy beside her. "This is Lucas, your children's half-brother." I stood frozen in the doorway, unable to process what was happening. Amanda continued, words tumbling out desperately. "I know I made terrible mistakes. I was selfish and stupid. But I have changed, Sean. Becoming a mother to Lucas made me realize what I threw away. I think about Jackson and Emma every day. I want to make things right." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "We have been sleeping in my car for the past week. Please just let us stay until I can get back on my feet." The twins deserve to know their brother. The audacity of her request stunned me. After years of complete abandonment, she expected to walk back into our lives because her plan with Tyler had fallen apart. She was using her son, an innocent child in all this, as an emotional manipulation tool. Worse, she was invoking Jackson and Emma's well-being after years of causing them pain. As I looked at her standing there, something hardened inside me. The doorbell she had so casually rung had actually signaled the arrival of a moment I had unconsciously been preparing for since the day she walked out. I took a deep breath and stepped outside, pulling the door partially closed behind me. 6 years of therapy had taught me to control my emotions, but standing face to face with the woman who had abandoned our 3-year-old twins was testing every ounce of that hard-won composure. "Amanda," I said, keeping my voice steady, "you left us without a backward glance. Do you have any idea what that did to Jackson and Emma?" She flinched but quickly recovered. "I know, and I feel terrible about it. I was young and selfish. But people change, Sean. Becoming a full-time mother to Lucas made me realize what truly matters." The irony was almost laughable. "So you needed to abandon your first 2 children to learn how to be a mother to your third. That is quite a parenting journey." Lucas looked up at his mother, confusion evident on his small face. I felt a pang of sympathy for the boy. None of this was his fault. Amanda's eyes welled with tears again. "I made mistakes. Horrible mistakes. But Jackson and Emma are still my children. I have rights." That word, rights, ignited something inside me. Rights she had never bothered to exercise for 6 years. "Rights," I repeated quietly. "Let me tell you about rights, Amanda. You know who had the right to have both parents present for kindergarten graduation, our twins. You know who had the right to not cry themselves to sleep, wondering why their mother never calls, our twins. I thought about each birthday, each Christmas, each school performance, where I had to explain to teachers why only one parent would be attending. I thought about Emma asking if she had done something wrong to make her mommy leave, and Jackson punching a classmate who teased him about not having a mother. Do you know how many nights I have spent holding our children while they cried for you?" I continued, my voice still controlled, but intense. "Do you know what it is like to have to explain to a 3-year-old that their mother chose someone else over them? To a 5-year-old? To a 7-year-old? The questions get harder as they get older, Amanda." She wiped at her tears, her expression growing desperate. "Please, Sean, I know I cannot undo the past, but I want to be part of their future. They deserve to know their mother." "Their mother," I challenged. "A mother is someone who shows up. Every day. Through fevers and nightmares and skinned knees. Through school projects and bad days and celebrations. You have not been their mother for 6 years. You have been a ghost." I glanced at Lucas, lowering my voice. "I am truly sorry about your situation. No child should be homeless. I will help you find resources. There are good family shelters in the city, and I can give you information about assistance programs. But you cannot stay here." Amanda's demeanor suddenly shifted, desperation giving way to anger. The mask of contrition slipped, revealing the woman I remembered from the night she left. "You cannot keep me from my children," she hissed, careful to keep her voice down. I am their biological mother. If I go to court, I interrupted calmly. Explain to a judge why you have not paid child support in 6 years. Explain why you have not called or visited. Explain why you moved across the country without telling them. The documentation of your abandonment is extensive, Amanda. Her face flushed with anger. You always thought you were so much better than me, so self-righteous. You probably turned them against me. I shook my head, recognizing the old pattern of Amanda deflecting responsibility. I have never spoken ill of you to the twins. They formed their own opinions based on your absence. They stopped asking about you 2 years ago. That statement hit her hard. She grabbed Lucas's hand tighter, causing him to wince. We have nowhere to go, Sean. Are you really going to turn away the mother of your children? What about family values? What about compassion? My family values include protecting Jackson and Emma from more pain. I replied evenly. And compassion does not mean allowing toxic people back into our lives. The twins have stability now. They are happy, well-adjusted, and thriving. I will not jeopardize that. I reached into my wallet and took out several $20 bills. This should be enough for a few nights in a motel. Call this number. I scribbled down the contact information for a family crisis center. They can help you find permanent housing and employment assistance. Amanda stared at the money and paper as though they were insects. I do not want your charity. I want my family back. That is the problem, Amanda. We are not your family anymore. You abandoned that right the night you walked out. We have built something new, something healthy and strong. The twins deserve that peace. Her face contorted with fury. This is not over. That woman in there playing mommy to my kids does not replace me. Blood is thicker than water. I had remained calm throughout our exchange, but her reference to Natalie, who had loved and supported Jackson and Emma unconditionally for years, pushed me to my limit. You know what, Amanda? You are right about one thing. This is over. It has been over since you decided your happiness was more important than our children's well-being. Do not come back here. Do not contact the twins. If you want to establish any kind of relationship with them in the future, it will be through proper legal channels with therapists involved, and only if they want it. I looked down at Lucas, whose eyes were wide with fear and confusion. Crouching to his level, I spoke gently. None of this is your fault, buddy. Your mom is going to find you both a good place to stay. Standing back up, I addressed Amanda one final time. I wish you well. Amanda, I truly do, but not at the expense of Jackson and Emma's emotional health. Then I turned, walked back into my house, and firmly closed the door, leaving Amanda and her protests on the other side. I heard her pounding on the door, her voice rising, but I did not open it again. Inside, Natalie stood in the hallway, concern etched across her face. Is everything okay? She asked quietly. I took a deep breath. That was Amanda. She is homeless and wanted to move in. Natalie's eyes widened. The twins, in the kitchen still, I hope. She nodded. I told them to finish breakfast. They have no idea. Over the next few hours, we developed a plan. We would tell Jackson and Emma about their mother's appearance in an age-appropriate way with no unnecessary details about her circumstances. We would reassure them that they were safe and loved, and that they had no obligation to see her if they did not want to. We would schedule an extra session with their therapist to help process any feelings that might arise. The days that followed were tense. I half expected Amanda to show up at the twins' school or to file emergency custody motions. I consulted our family lawyer, who reassured me that Amanda's years of abandonment would weigh heavily against any sudden custody claims. 6 months later, we received a letter from Amanda's attorney. She was terminating her parental rights voluntarily. The letter included a brief note saying she had found housing and employment in another state and had decided the twins would be better off without her complicating their lives. She made no mention of Lucas. That letter brought a complex mix of emotions: relief, sadness, and ultimately closure. The twins, now 10, processed the news with the resilience they had shown throughout their young lives. Does this mean Natalie can be our mom now? Emma asked. The question brought tears to Natalie's eyes. A year later, after Natalie and I married in a small ceremony with the twins as our attendants, she legally adopted Jackson and Emma. The four of us became officially on paper what we had been in our hearts for years: a family. The betrayal and abandonment that once threatened to define us had ultimately led us to something stronger, more intentional, and more precious than I could have imagined during those dark days alone, with two confused toddlers. We had built our family not on obligation or biology, but on choice and love, the only foundation that truly matters. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have let your ex back into your life after such a betrayal? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more real stories about overcoming life's challenges. Share this with someone who might need to be reminded that sometimes the family we choose is stronger than the family we are born into. Thank you for listening, and remember, your worth is not determined by those who fail to see it.